Introducing Barb Rentenbach. Here's how Barb describes herself. I don't look normal. I appear to be quite messed up and a prime candidate for nothing but pity and patronization, with a sprinkling of repulsion and fear. I am disguised as a poor thinker. In fact, Barb is a brilliant thinker. She has much to say to all of us, but she is mute. So Barb invited a bunch of friends to come into the studio one day and read some writings from her upcoming book, I Might Be You. She says it will be better that way. It will nicely illustrate the point that we are all flecks of God, all diverse, yet all important to this world. Barb would like to thank her friends for giving voice to these readings. Her voice may be lovely and elegant one day, but right now it's still in the shop.
Before I begin my reasonably polished prose on my insider's perspective, please allow me to reiterate some practical implications for teaching students with autism from my first book.
Number 1. Objects. We often take comfort in objects. This is usually a harmless proclivity. Let it be. Allow us the power to relinquish objects or not. I used to carry around a plastic bowl of nuts and bolts. Odd, but harmless. About 10 years ago, I gave it up and now always carry a bottle of water. My choice, my change. The world continues to orbit the sun.
Number 2, occasional quiet company. Don't assume we prefer isolation. We may have a hard time dealing with loud or chatty company. No one likes to be talked at. Try just being with us. For example, I love going on walks but prefer my companions not talk during our stroll. I enjoy the other's presence and feel more equal when we are both walking and just being together. You can give us an added gift if you try to clear your mind of business and focus on knowing during these quiet moments. Peaceful human companionship is priceless.
Number 3, facilitated communication, FC, or assisted typing or supported typing. School systems, if this is the only way some of your students can communicate, so be it. Accept and move on. Students will. FC students should turn in work products, take exams, and participate in class. Don't shelter us from the anxiety and effort intertwined with learning. Not everyone will believe that the student is doing all the work.
So what? How many science fair blue ribbons were the result of little Johnny's best efforts combined with a hearty dose of parental midnight oil? Intellectually subsidized Johnny still learned about how volcanoes work. Now that Johnny is grown and successful, he does his own work. Well, often with the help of secretaries, interns, and administrative assistants.
How many of us gather strength and support is basically the same. We tap into the source. In fact, I am doing it right now. People give many names and structures to source, but labels don't matter. The source is the source is the source.
The source is all that matters. That which is not matter is source too.
We heal and strengthen by ceasing to be dualistic with our perceptions of self. When we remember who we are as flecks of God, shavings of source, some of the sum, whatever you wish to call it, we accept the perpetual gift of being part of the solution. The Buddhist proverb, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, is true. The source always provides the gift when we are ready to accept.
President Lincoln accepted this gift. My parents accepted this gift. And finally, so did I. Everyone's path is different, but everyone's solution is the same. Source.
President Lincoln was a logical thinker and did not respect those who thought they were religiously for sure correct. Honest Abe was no fan of pious blowhards who thought they had all the answers. Author Evans Roth shares his sentiment in his Brains, Religions, and Reality, Integrative Searching for Purpose and Peace. Science will always be incomplete by definition. Too often, religious leaders seem to act as though religion is complete.
In Lincoln's first inauguration, he proposed a compromise. Southerners rejected his plea as they felt the Bible clearly projected and prescribed the right to own slaves. The North also felt the Lord was on their side, not remembering I might be you, and we are all the source off to where they went.
Lincoln's heart changed when his third and favorite son, Willie, died at the age of 11 from typhoid fever. The eulogy impelled him to consider trusting in a loving God. Abraham's re-examination of his relationship with Source led to his noetic truth: the will of God prevails. From there, Lincoln took the gift of being part of the solution and turned to the plight of our war-torn country and agonized over, what is the will of God in this crisis? He knew both sides may be wrong, but one must be wrong.
Lincoln discerned that God cannot be both for and against the same thing at the same time. This was years before wave-particle duality of light was known, so we'll cut Abe some slack. He reasoned, therefore, that God must will this conflict. Lincoln's role then was to lead in such a way that good could come from this war.
My dear dad, D.D., went through a parallel process when his third child and favorite daughter, Barb, died at the age of 2.5 from autism. D.D. accepted his role to lead in such a way that good could come from this ASD war.
Lincoln found comfort in the story of Job. And who doesn't? What a fun read. My DD is a big Job fan too. Like President Lincoln, President Rentenbach took his Job job to heart and task. These men set out to fix our world in the direction that God wills.
Dee went about solving the crisis of me being enslaved in autism, first with logic, and then with faith and a clear sense of God's will.
I valorize both Presidents Lincoln and Rentenbach as their determination led to evolution. When enough of us embrace being part of the solution, eventually justice prevails and discrimination bails.
Mom's role in ameliorating our autistic problem was also vital. She is less diplomatic and presidential, and more like a keen, tenacious, and impassioned defense attorney. She was my independent dream team. Her mission was my civil rights and freed speech.
Like Clarence Darrow, who represented Joan Scopes, the young biology teacher who disobeyed the Tennessee ban on teaching evolution in 1925 in the trial of the century, Mom fought the autistic monkey on my back with science, science, and more science. She took me to every doctor, expert, and intervention program imaginable. Fastidious, lion-hearted Mom immersed herself in my care and healing.
In the Scopes trial, the question was about who had authority, laws of science or religion. The judge was not impartial and favored the fundamentalist position championed by prosecutor and itinerant preacher William Jennings Bryan. Darrow wanted to put scientists who were Christian on the stand, but the judge would not allow it. When Darrow hit a dead end with science, he went straight to the source and asked William Jennings Bryan to take the stand as a Bible expert. Bryan's circular reasoning was so damning that the biased judge had the testimony removed. Darrow was declared a clear winner by the people and press. Scopes was found guilty, but public opinion was on his side. Ignorance was exposed, but not yet mended.
Justice almost always takes more time than the just expect. In my case, when Mom hit a dead end with science, she also went straight to the source and asked me to take the stand as an autism expert. We flew up to Syracuse, New York, and had me fitted for words at the Institute for Facilitated Communication.
The suit fit. I was ready to testify. Many judges also threw out my testimony, but eventually enough public opinion favored my rights and I gained freedom.
No longer were they treating me. I made my case and cure with my own words.
Happy as a freed slave, I now accept my gift of being part of the solution.
Freud wrote that what is moral is self-evident. It may be self-evident, but it is not automatic. And what is intuited to be right is definitely not always followed with solution-oriented action. Did we not feel and thus know slavery was wrong, disregarding autistics, annihilating Jews and homosexuals, casting down untouchables, crusading with slaughter, raping the earth? Our inconsistencies fill history. Many of us are here to balance the scales by helping us remember, I might be you. It's about jobs. Some of the sum Let's get to work.